Hello, YouTubers. This is another session where we continue our virtual bazaar sessions. In the last session, we talked a little bit about setting down the foundations for in an ASP.NET Core provision, which is basically being able to write C# code to roll up resources in the cloud. One of the biggest advantages of something like this is that it allows you to not have to learn an extra language or an extra functionality or an extra capability. You get to just use a language that you're already familiar with, to actually process these requests. And I'm joined here by my dear brother Bilal. How are you doing, brother?
I am fine. How are you?
I'm doing great. I'm doing great. Okay. All right. Let's see if the rest of the crew shows up. I will roll up Vazar here real quick and we will talk business.
Okay.
So just for the people wondering, because a couple of people reached out to me, they were like, "Hey, where's the virtual bazaar series, session?" There has been a little bit of a faux pas, in terms of, daylight savings, and here in Seattle, Washington, the hours got pushed a little bit forward 1 hour, so it caused a little bit of confusion. Sorry about that. That was on my side. Let me roll up Visual Studio here real quick. Let's get started. So we did everything, right? Did we do the configuration broker too, or no? Let's take a look. Let's see what's out there. Um, so here is. Let me increase the resolution on our stuff here.
I guess configuration broker is remaining. Rest of those were done like last time we did resource groups, web apps. Yeah, web
Okay,
apps.
perfect. All right, sounds like a plan. Let's see. So we have the initialize provision project. Hey, yeah, sir. How are you, brother?
Yeah, I'm good.
All right. We're on air, so we'll see.
Hmm.
Sean is good. Did he get internet stuff?
Yeah, possibly.
Okay. Okay. All right. So Bilal, no, we have the configurations. I think we should be good. So this is a configuration broker, and this configuration broker will help us go pull some very important stuff for cloud management configuration. This is how we're gonna determine how we're rolling up things. Okay. So with that being said, so okay, we got the clouds, we got the loggings, we got everything. This is all the brokers that we need. The next thing for us here is to build a foundation service. And these foundation services will handle basically the little detail about, oh, we want to be able to, log the activity, pass in, formalize the parameters of your Azure resources. There's a huge thing that we're going to run into here. Excuse me, guys, when you're building basically cloud infrastructure components, because especially if it's public facing, what basically happens is that you run into this situation where an existing cloud component already has the same name. So what are we going to do then, right? It becomes troublesome to work with something like that, right? Because now you need to figure out a new name for your application. You need to permutate, and try different permutation. It's a little tiny problem, but but when it happens, it becomes a little bit, annoying. Okay, so I'm gonna start here by building the very first one. I'm gonna go here and create so I have our models. I'm gonna build foundation service. We're gonna build one function, each one of us. There's no problem there. So this is cloud, sorry, services, and under services we want to build foundation services. It's foundations, and then under here you want to say cloud managements, like this, and under this guy I want to say iCloud management service. All of these will line up together, and they will constitute the whole flow that you build. So this is iCloud management service right here. And this is just your typical, the exact same pattern. One of the things I try to do when I do these things, just to show people how, you can build infrastructure. You can build, actual business logic. You can build, components, and it's all standard compliant. It all fits, right? Somehow.
Mhm.
So what's the first thing I really care about here? I'm gonna go here and say value task like this, and I am creating a resource group. That exact same order that we built earlier with, but with a little bit of details that I'm going to show you in a second. So here's resource group, and then this is create resource group async. And what do we need? We need a string for the project name, right? And we also need a string for the environment. And the environment is basically saying, oh, is this div? Is this UAT? Is this prod? Which environment this is that I'm working with, right? You're gonna have, it depends on where you work and what the team is deciding. You're gonna run into a lot of different environments. So some people use QA, some people use staging, all kinds of different names, right? So cloud management service in here. So that's this guy, and let's go up in here and do this. And this guy inherits from iCloud management service. So what do we need? We need to be able to log our activity. So private read-only iLogging broker. So that's this guy. See, it's all pretty much the same thing. In a way, it's very similar. So that's your logging broker. And then under here, I have well, first I want the business logic, so private read-only iCloud broker. So that's your cloud broker in here, cloud broker, and then I want a CTOR, and then each one of those will just get initiated. There's no really transient injection in here. We just pass in, the actual instantiation of the value because it's just one and done. We won't be substituting in the long term anything similar to what we do in the ASP.NET project. Okay, so we have this project name, environment. This is all good and dandy. Now let's go ahead and build it. So it depends on what kind of convention do you want to follow. Ideally, I go like this and I say, okay, my resource group name will be something that is, you start with the project name like this, and then you pass dash like this, and then you say the environment, right? But some people, you'll see some folks coming and saying, like, when you're trying to scale these things, what up, Sean? You're on mute. Or did they take away your voice? Live, Sean, how are you doing?
I am fine. How are you guys?
I'm
Yeah.
doing good, bro.
Yeah.
We're good.
Doing great. So Sean, we're starting to build a foundation service,
Mm-hmm.
right? And basically, I'm saying, like, when you're creating, different resources, every team have their own conventions. The one I
Mm-hmm.
personally recommend is basically go and say the project name and then the type, which is resources, like this. So it will be like, if your project is VZR, it will be VZR dash resources dash dev, VZR dash resources dash whatever you're working with. And if you're building a UI component, ideally this project name would be something like this. It will be VZR dash core dash resources dash dev. So this guy's talking about your core API. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. So we also want to stay consistent with things, right? There's uppercase, lowercase. So I want to make sure my entire thing in here is to upper. Some Azure resources, they want to allow you actually to have um, they won't allow you to have an uppercase or camel case or O notations, sorry, or any other notation in your resource group. Like, for instance, if you're building what was that, a blob storage, you can't just go in a blob storage and say Yasser storage like this. It will
Mm-hmm.
barf. And some of it won't even allow you to have that dash. Funny, right? Because most of these, ideally, at some point in time, hopefully people will come to a point where they realize they need to normalize and standardize the naming conventions across all Azure resources. Anyway, so let's just get to this business. So this dot logging broker, right? And then log activity, and then we're gonna go and say starting creating or provisioning rather, provisioning, right? And then there's this guy. That's the resource group that we are, resource group name. So this guy will be your message, control space, sorry, control shift space will tell you the messages. And if you're doing that while you're using Teams, it will interfere, which drives me nuts. Like if you're on a Teams call and you're trying to do control shift space or control space, just something goes wrong, you know? Anyway, so this is provisioning. Let's call it provisioning resource group name like this. Provisioning resource group name. So these three dots, like I started something, right? And then we can go here and say await this dot cloud broker dot create resource group async. And this guy just wants a resource group name from us, so that's great. So here's your I resource group, like this. So now that you created the resource group, you can go and notify and say this dot logging broker log activity provisioning resource group name completed, something like this. And then you move on to the next thing. When you are running this guy, these little details are very, very helpful because it tells you where your provisioning process is. Some resources take longer than others. Like if you're provisioning a Redis cache, it takes about 20 minutes for some reason. I don't know why. Like if you're trying to roll up a Redis cache, you'll just be sitting there in the dark. So always be kind to yourself as an engineer and tell yourself what you're working on. So or what your app is working on. So this is resource group done. So this here basically a function. Let's call this provision resource group async here, and there will be deprovision. We'll talk about that in a second. But there's this guy. You guys have any question about that? Is it very straightforward? So here's a name, here's a logging, and then we created the activity, and then we reported, and then we returned it. We're gonna need that later to pass it to other functions to create the web app service and all that kind of stuff.
Hmm.
Okay, so here is my part. So I'm gonna just do a quick cleanup in here just in case I missed anything. And who wants to go next? Yeah, sir. You haven't written code in 300 years. You had all these engineers writing code for you, and okay. So this foundation provision resource group. Okay, the next one will just follow that exact same order, like based on what we need to provision in the cloud. That's exactly what we want to roll up in here. Okay, so the next one of those would be, I guess you created the resource group. We maybe want to create a plan. Go ahead, yeah. So you're it. The exact same model, the exact same pattern, no difference there. Go ahead. Here's Yasser.
Is it on the
Let's,
same branch, right?
yes. We are quadruple programming, I guess. Right. Hmm. Did I not push the stuff? It should be in the provision area. Is your Visual Studio frozen?
No.
All right,
Is
let's
it so?
go. Yeah, no, 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 I got you. It's under services, foundations.
Oh, we have cloud management.
Yep,
Okay.
yep. Let's go to iCloud management and get this party started. So, okay, so we want to provision a plan, right? So let's go value task, I app service plan, and all that good stuff. How you doing, Sean? How's your day
I'm
going?
all good.
How is Dubai? How's the weather over there?
Getting hotter now.
So
It's
now
almost
you're becoming the talk of the town right? Because when I pair with people on the OData group, every time Paul drops, he'll be like, "Oh, I'm sorry, am I in Dubai? This is getting out of hand. This is this is not what I intended."
The
Mm,
other day, I think so, it was on Wednesday, Sean. So I
Mm-hmm.
think so. I had a call with Sean for like 1 hour and 30 minutes, and Sean was
and
like,
nothing happened.
Perfect.
nothing happened. Yeah.
What the
We
heck,
Absolutely
dude?
perfect.
he even shared his screen, I think so, for like 30 minutes, and everything was going fine.
What? How is that even like why? I don't understand it. You know,
Getting better.
you're getting
Might
better and
say
better. They're
one session
improving
at
the
a time.
service. Did you send like a support ticket to them or something?
No, no.
So yeah, so you'll just need
Mhm.
the project name and the environment, I think, if I get that right.
So a resource group we don't require for this.
No, you will, but keep it at the very bottom and just put project name, environment, and then resource group. And then resource. Yeah, there you go. So that should take care of that. This is so we want to kind of construct the name and then we basically start executing the task. It's gonna be very predictable. There is no magic there. This is what I
Right.
love about the standard. It makes it predictable. Once you do it once, you do it every time. All right, this guy should freak out. There you go. Just make sure you honor the order of implementation. Yes, sir. There's something to that. Yeah,
Right.
see it, put
Okay.
it above the resource group. It should be below.
Yeah, it should be below. Okay.
Look at that. Look at this brother right there. Look at this brother practicing, dark magic. The dark magic of Control Alt.
Okay.
All right. Yeah, let's construct the name. The exact same thing. Project name dash plan dash
Mhm.
environment to upper. Exactly the same thing. Mhm. This rule won't apply for every resource, I have to say, like SQL Server and database and all that. Unfortunately, you can't do it this way, but yeah. Mm.
Will be plan.
And then
Then we have an
environment.
environment.
Yeah. It makes it so much easier when you're doing a cleanup to kind of know which resources go where and all that. And just like I said, you will see situations where you have to add a region. So it will be like VZR, Plan, Div, US2, or India Central. This will happen all the time. Okay, so let's call it just call it a plan name, you know, or app service plan name, not project plan name.
Should be fine.
Yeah. Okay, so we have that. Now let's, log an activity. Sean, get ready. You're next. And we'll see how that goes. And let's go. Yeah, provisioning. App service plan. Uh, no, you just put the name there. That's all.
Okay.
It's already saying it's a
Mhm.
plan, right? And I think we need to upgrade our .NET 7 across all to the release 2. They just released it this morning. So
Yeah.
we're gonna
Okay.
so we're gonna stay on that bleeding edge as much as we
Mhm.
can. All right, great. Now you just need to call the broker and easy peasy, no problem there.
So this is we'll just
Hmm.
see what the
Yep,
broker provides
yep,
me back.
yep. There it is.
Create
Create
web app
plan.
async.
Nope. Create
Sorry,
plan async.
plan
Yep.
plan.
All right. Looks like it's asking you exactly for these things. What a surprise. Predictable
Plan name.
programming. Yep. Okay. If you want to rename your variable to plan name too, I'm okay with that. But you already have all the stuff that you need. Mm. Also, yeah, sir, please break in your input parameters so they fit your screen in the method name. That's right. Yep. And then break them one by one to each line. There you go. Yep. Okay. Now what do we do? You probably want to wait, you want to await this one. So at line 553, you want to await it. Yeah, it's a little bit too excited about awaiting things. All right. And then you need async.
Provides value task.
No, you just need an async in your method. So I have a question for you guys. Okay. I see a lot of people like when I'm working with the OData folks, sometimes people get a little nervous live on air. Do you get nervous live on air? What do you think, Bilal? Do you get a little nervous? You
Yeah, so in my first session, I was a bit nervous, but right now
Yeah, in
I'm
initial.
pretty comfortable.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, I mean, yeah, you'll be just fine. There's only 6,122 people watching you. It's not a big deal. That's more than
Imagine my situation when I drop, when I keep dropping off.
Yeah, that's what are we gonna do about that, Sean? All right. Okay. All right. There we go.
I'm
Oh, you
missing.
oh, you just don't need the dollar sign behind the message. That's all. And you don't need the double quotes behind the message either. No, no, behind the message, the actual term. Because message is just a parameter name, right? Mhm.
Just that. Yeah.
Now you need dollar sign. Yeah. All right. Okay. So this guy is mad because yeah, separate these two liners with a new separator like in line. So when you see two liners like these, like this statement I just made, either make it a one liner or break a new line in between. Either way is fine with me. And do control KD so we can you see this extra space that I didn't take care of it? Okay, so take away that space behind app service plan name in your after your squiggly bracket. Line 54. There's an extra space there. So keep going. Yeah, right there. Take that space. Perfect. And now just don't forget to save the plan in a variable. So you see that create plan async, you need to save that guy in a variable. So I app service plan, so we can return it because we're gonna need it later when we're building the web app service. Mm. Yep, app service plan. Now you're gonna need to break because it's getting long.
Hmm.
Mm.
Break it over here.
You can break it over here. That works too. Okay, and then break from a wait, like behind a wait. Yep, that works. And then you need a new
Okay.
line as well after that guy. So a new line before and after because it's a multi-liner kind of thing.
Mhm.
Yep, there you go. Now your code is a little bit more easy to read. And then, yep, and then put a new line before that return. Always, even if it's a one-liner, make your return statement. Okay, that's it. You're done. Yay, look at that. Sweet and simple.
Mhm.
You see, this is so amazing because you don't have to learn a freaking like I'm not talking to you about the language anymore.
Right.
It's just
Right.
about what we're trying to create rather than how we're creating it. All right, hit that guy and Sean, you're gonna be writing code. How do you feel about
Should
that?
be foundation.
You're on mute. They
We are
took
done with
away.
resource group. We are done with the plan.
Yeah.
What's
So
next?
what's the next? You tell me. What's the next one? You tell me.
Database service.
Yeah, let's create a data. Let's create a database server,
Mhm.
and then
Yeah,
let's
brother.
host. Yeah.
The message should be
Foundations colon, and then implement or just say provision app service
app
plan.
service plan.
Yep, that's it. Provision app service plan. Okay, cool. So Sean is gonna do the SQL server, and Bilal is gonna do the SQL database. Okay, guys. It'll
Okay,
be a little. There's a little bit of trickiness in there, but I'll walk you through it. For Sean, it should be straightforward. But Bilal's gonna have to do the database. He'll know what to do. He's smart. He knows what to do. Okay, where's Sean? Sean, share your screen. Sean, did he froze? Is he froze?
No.
Okay, all right. Okay, all right. There you are. All right. So technically, if you pull latest, you should see the work that Yasser just did. So if you scroll down a little, do you see provision app service plan? Looks like you have it. What happened? Why? Oh, actually, no. Sean is the bright screen of death. Okay, zoom in a little bit so I can see stuff, and let's do it, man. Gee, like I'm gonna get a suntan just looking at this guy. Uh-oh, just wait. What are you doing? We write interfaces first, and then implementation. We're not animals. Come on. Give me a little bit of credit there. All right. I'll let Bilal drive that one. He knows that one. Bilal, do you know this one? Bilal's
let's
like, I don't
see.
know anything.
I do remember. I think so. It's like it's SQL database or SQL
We,
Server.
we wanna we wanna create a database server. So I database go
SQL
to
Server.
yeah, iSQL server, I think. Just type server in there, see what comes up. No. Just take the I and just type server, see what oh, okay. There you are. There you are.
It's iSQL Server.
iSQL server. Okay. Try this, Sean. iSQL server. Yep, and then control period, see if it comes from the other side. There you are. You should listen to Bilal all the time. He knows stuff. Provision, SQL server, or database server. That's fine. Whatever works for you.
SQL Server is
Yeah,
Sure.
better,
SQL Server will be better.
or database server. SQL Server.
Well, there will be SQL server and SQL database. So either one of those is
This particular one is SQL Server.
okay.
Project name, then environment, and then resource group.
So exactly the same as the others, because this guy doesn't need anything else. Oh, this is beautiful. Look how this is building up. You're
Hmm.
gonna start passing in that SQL server to the database because you need both of these. It's gonna be great.
String SQL Server name.
hmm So what's the naming convention for this one? Would it let us actually build things like, in this case here, it doesn't let you do uppercase, unfortunately. So the recommendation here is that you're gonna go and say, project name and then dash and then I think DB server, and then dash, and then environment.
Oh, there.
So yeah, so after the squiggly dash, look at the AI trying to figure me out. So dash DB server. Yep,
But
and
it
then
is.
dash. Yep, just like that. And then dash, and then environment name. And this time you're gonna say to lower instead of to upper like we were doing the other ones. Yeah, there you go. Done. The rest is history. You know what to do. You know what I've been thinking about? I'm thinking about making logging asynchronous, but there is no asynchronous operation there. Like, it can be because it's idempotent, it's atomic, but there's no support for it. So, provisioning. Yes, sir. Exactly like that. Put three dots there so we know there is a process that got started. Like three dots meaning,
Something is
what,
running.
unless you're dating a girl, so three dots is like there's things I want to say that I can't say right now. Look at Sean's face. Dot 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 dot. Sean, did you marry yet?
Yes.
Okay, I guess that task is completed. You don't have to await async that one. That one is done. What about you, Bilal? Are you in marriage town?
Yeah, I am married and I do have a daughter as well.
And you do have a lot of kids?
Only one. I have a
Just the
daughter.
daughter?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Cool. Yeah. No, kids are cool. Kids are cool. We'll never be able to or maybe it'll take a very, very long time before we can simulate half of the way they observe and grow. They're just, human beings are just a ball of sensors. We're just a ball of sensors, and our brain is collecting that data around the clock. I don't know, man. There's a scientist that said, if we could develop a microprocessor today that could have the exact same power of a human brain, it would take the entirety of Niagara Falls to cool down that server because it would go really hot, the amount of processing that's happening. Imagine our brains are put into this weird box in our heads, no fans. Sometimes I have to put a fan over my head. I get overheated. But but other than that, look, Sean quietly break the input parameters on the resource and the SQL server name and resource group, please. No, the line 72, please, Sean.
So I think so. The copyright message is also not there.
What? I forgot the copyright message. Shame.
No,
We're
it's
Even
there.
take
I.
Let's see.
we're taking away
No,
Yasser's
it's there. It's
app.
there.
Yep. Sorry, Yasser. You didn't know who you hired for the job. All
Yeah,
right.
Sean, can we have on line 68, just instead of DB server, SQL server, just to be consistent?
Like SQL
Yeah.
Server? Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Sure. Works too. Works until you decide to switch to Cosmos, and now your naming convention is gonna fall apart. But okay, let's go.
Mhm.
So
Provisioning.
why don't we follow DB server, database server, and database names like that?
I personally
Now
say
it's
DB server, but he's the manager. I don't want to mess with him. He's like, hey, we need SQL Server. Yasser, as a convention, usually people say DB server. Just want to let you know. Just a
Okay,
little
okay.
advice for you.
Uh,
You know.
le- okay.
we
What
still
I
can
thought of,
change it.
yeah, let's have DB server then, because since it's a convention, and
Yeah. Normally people
yeah,
say that unless you really like wanna innovate. You wanna be an innovator. Change the.
So
Uh,
should I start changing it?
No,
No,
no, no.
not yeah.
No, he said the string. You can put it back. Just do
Yeah,
Control Z, brother. Just do Control Z. So
yeah.
one
That's it.
more thing for you. One more thing for you, Sean. I'm gonna show you a nice trick today. Do you want to see a nice
Uh-huh.
trick?
Oh, yeah.
Do Tools Options and just type space in there in the search, and then under C sharp, clicks on spacing. I think that's the one. Nope, not that one. Where is it? General, maybe go to General. Why is it showing? It's not loading anything. Okay, so wait here. Yeah, view white space. Click on that guy, and then click OK. Okay, do you see these dots? Take away that dot next to your SQL Server name on line 72. Line 72, do you see it? No, at the end, at the very end of that line. Yeah, see?
Mm,
We're
that's cool.
gangsta, son. That's how we roll.
So my message would be
Yeah, provision SQL Server. Bilal, you know that next one is a little tricky, right? There's a little
Okay,
something you have to do at the end for the connection string.
okay.
I'll let you take care of that. Thank you, Sean. Oh my God. This just went smoothly with no problems.
seamless.
Seamless. It's a growth process. We're growing, guys. We're evolving. All right. Here comes Bilal. Ah, so comforting. I feel like my cornea and my eye needed that kind of. Let's see if we can make this fill the screen. Okay, Bilal, just minimize the width of your Visual Studio. I want it to be like, no, 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 the width of the window itself, like from the very right. No, not like that. Okay, you can keep it. Okay, so if you pull to
Exactly opposite of what you did just now.
yes.
So like I just pressed on the like maximize or minimize button. So like
So click
No,
click
no,
that.
no, no. You
Mhm.
are trying to make the code space more and the solution explorer space less. Do the opposite. Yeah,
okay,
opposite.
It,
like
it's okay.
this.
Yeah, it's okay. It's all right. I can see his code. I'm just worried for the people on their cell phones, and I also want to fill that screen. Based on how much you're sharing, you're filling
Mm.
the screen. But that's okay. We're good. Let's go, man. Let's go.
Okay, okay. I think so. We should start from pavilion and then.
Make
Do we
sure you
need to
get
create?
make sure you
Do we
get
need to
Sean's.
create it?
Huh?
Yeah. So I just did a pull. So I have the latest code.
All right, perfect. Let's do create SQL database. A
Okay,
SQL
inside the
database.
services.
Yeah, provision SQL database. And this time, yeah, I'll let you roll. I won't tell you what to do. You're a grown up man. You know what to do.
iSQL database. Yeah, it's giving that.
Yeah, that's the one. Yeah, yeah.
Database. Okay.
See, the manager is watching you. Yeah.
For
So what do we
database, we
need?
have,
Hmm.
yeah, will require resource group,
Do you?
database server, SQL server.
Yeah, you need the server, but why would you need the resource group for? The server is in the group,
Right,
and now the
right.
database is in the server,
So
right?
We don't require resource group. Yeah.
yeah, we need SQL server on there.
Yep. You still need a project name, and you still need an environment, I think, but
Yeah.
you won't need a resource group, right?
So in that case, we need an iSQL server.
That's right. Look at this progression of things, the chronological progression. See? So the beacon, right, is in the bottle. And then the bottle has fire in it that lights up the earth from the west to the east. I don't think he'll get that reference, yes, or do you think he will? No? No? Okay. Okay, great. Let's go.
So we will create a like a SQL DB database name,
Mm-hmm.
and then from there,
You see how the other one was DB server? This one is DB, right, Sean? I think. DB? Yeah, yeah. Someone was asking me this the other day. He said, should we test drive our infrastructure code? I thought that was a little meta, because your infrastructure code is not likely to change and it doesn't have really business logic in it. So see power, kind of begets challenge. Like people be like, oh, well, I'm writing it in C sharp, let me test drive it. You wouldn't do that with your YAML script, you know, because there's no way on God's green earth you'll be able to test drive YAML script because it sucks. That's why. But anyway,
so this one should also be lowercase, same like a
yes,
SQL.
yes, yeah. With these guys, they're just so you guys understand, when you're facing the Azure portal and you're building all of these different apps, they're very different teams and they all have their own conventions. And if you saw my podcast, I was talking the other day to this guy, Nick Craver, and his job in the world is to make your app service and Azure functions fast. That's it. That's his day job. He doesn't create new features, he doesn't do none of that. He just makes things fast. That's it. Right? So it's a little bit bigger than it looks. All right. Dot dot dot. Well, if it gets too long like that, then just break it to the next layer if you want. Unless your screen is just too close. I guess that's okay too. If you want to
Yes,
zoom out, if you do Control Shift, comma, see what happens. Just one time. Control Shift, comma. Is it doing
no,
anything?
no, it's not. So
What the heck? Why it's not working? No, 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 don't do that. Go back to the IDE. I want to see why this is not working for you. Click here, Control Shift, comma. What
shift
about
and
what about Control Shift dot? Yeah, there you
so
go.
it
So
zooms
this is
in,
zoom
but
in. So what about Control Shift, comma though? The one
uh,
right next to the dot.
it's not working.
What? Fine. Zoom out like a muggle from Harry Potter with a mouse and a keyboard. There. Oh my god.
Okay, so we have
Okay. You know what this dot 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 means.
Okay,
Okay.
Sean frozen.
No, he's not. He's messing with us. Just wait. He's gonna start pranking us and he's gonna go like, what? But uh, look how I don't know why StreamYard is hiding away his autocomplete. Look these black dots that show up. What's that all about? That's weird. Yeah, break this function. Yeah, there you go. Yep. And then take away these input parameters. Yep, yep, yep. SQL Server. Hey, Bilal, I want to show you a trick. Go to Tools, Options, and then type space in there. And then go to General, and then click View White Space, and then click OK. Look at that. Oh my God. I love it. Okay. You guys want to write world-class software, right? Like gangsters, right? Okay. That's how we're gonna do it. I have so many tricks. I can't wait to find the opportunity to tell you right away. I'm like, you know what I'm like? I'm like Clippy from Microsoft Word. Clippy, that thing that shows up at the corner, and be like, "Hey, have you considered using the the bullet point list? It seems that you're right. It seems that you're writing a resume. Would you like me to pull some templates for you?"
It has been so long, I haven't seen that clipping.
Clippy,
Mm.
yeah, Clippy is culture, man. Clippy is more popular than Michael Jackson. You could run into tribes, in Africa who never used technologies ever, and they'll tell you, "We know what Clippy is. You don't have to tell us." No, Clippy is very famous.
Mm.
So here's one thing, just to stay consistent, go to provisioning SQL database completed.
Complete.
So at this point here, this is okay, but we want to return that connection string, right? To be able to
P
give it
capital.
to the provisioning? Yeah. So so take a new line after 91 and wait here for a second, Bilal, because there's more to it.
Okay.
Actually, just give me that guy and I'll tell you what we're gonna do. Just give it to me. Is it my turn? I get to write code too? Wow, that's fun. I don't get a chance to write code at all. You guys are putting me on spot here.
Hey,
I know what I'm.
provisioning the foundations, right?
Yeah, foundations,
Yeah,
not provision.
foundations.
No, no, it's just foundations, brother. Provision is the whole work that we're doing.
Foundations.
Foundations, and then yeah, provision SQL database, P capital.
Camel case.
Yeah, camel case. That's right. Who here has ridden a camel before?
Not in my life.
Only, of course, Sean, because he's in
Of course,
Dubai.
yeah.
You foreigners. I've rode camels a lot. Am I the only Arab in this group? Is that what it is? Yeah.
Oh,
Wow.
I mean, I haven't ridden it by myself. There was
Uh-huh.
another guy as well.
Okay, that's okay. That works. Okay, so here's the deal. So we want to riding camels for the first time is gonna freak you out because they go like front first and then they go
Mm.
up like this. So you will definitely think that you're going to actually, let me show you something funny. Screw the work. Let's show you the actual funny stuff. This is more important. So let me show you. Let me just show you here. So here's a window, Chrome tab, share audio tab, new tab. There you go. You guys can see this tab that I'm in, right? So let me just
Hmm.
minimize this guy so you can see the whole thing. And then let's see, guy falling off camel YouTube. There you go. So this is a classic kind of foreigner coming to, our homeland and trying to ride a camel. Watch this. Okay. There we go. There we go. He's very happy and proud. He's thinking about how many people are going to give him likes on his post. Wait for it. Look, look, look how it sits down. Look, look, look.
Mm. Oh,
Yes, yes,
Classic. This is
that's
how
how
you
it
know.
is.
This is how you know someone is not from that region, right? Because this is why they have this handle in front of you to hang on
Hmm.
to it, because he will go like this. And by the way, just I heard, I don't know if that's 100% true, that camels see us, like their peripherals, they see us a lot bigger than we really are. I think if they saw us in our real size, they'd chew us alive. Like camels can also be very vicious. So anyway, that's just the funny stuff. So here's the deal. We said we're gonna return SQL database in here, but I actually think we won't, and I'll tell you why. Because I still need that connection string to give it to the app service to connect to the database, right? So I want to go here and say, okay, so here's private. This guy is not meant to be exposed, right? Private static Actually, I'm gonna call okay, private, and then a string get connection string for database. Okay, so there's still more to it. It's not one and done. And what I want to do here is that I want to know the database name and the database server. So this is database name, and this is your database server name. Something like this, right? And if you remember, of course, remember if we went here in the brokers and we said, I want my cloud broker, and then I said, get database access. Do you remember that guy? And that guy gives you back a database access, and this database access basically has if I go into the model here, this database access has the admin name and the admin name and the admin access. We still need these guys, right? But we also need a little bit more than that. So let me get the connection string. This is your typical connection string in here. And I'm gonna go here and say return. Yikes, that's disgusting. Hold on. Let me find a better version of it. One sec. Here you go. So this guy here is saying, okay, you have the SQL database. I want the name, I want the server name, the admin name. So this here is access. So this is SQL database, or what did we call it, guys? We called it hold on.
SQL database access.
SQL database access. Okay, SQL database access. So this is access like this. So that's one. And then this guy basically will give us that. And then I guess I don't need that guy in here. I could just say iSQL database. This is your SQL database like this. And this guy will generate a connection string for me. So now I can take that connection string. There are cases, and just so you guys understand, this is bare minimum provisioning. There is a lot higher crazy things. You can do a service principal. You can allow access from app services to a particular database. This is just bare minimum. You're building a mom and pop shop, literally VZR. You're building something simple. You're not going to contain the world secrets in your system, right? And while we're at it, let's give it a proper name. So it's not really getting, it's generating, right? So generate connection string. Okay, so I have this connection string. Now what should I do with that? This guy is not actually going to return a SQL database anymore. It needs to return a little bit more than that. So I'm going to go here and say return new SQL database access like this. And this guy is gonna, no, not a database access. We need a new model that gives us the entire connection string. So we're gonna need a new SQL database, and I might need to create that model, new SQL database in here, and this database is gonna need to have the database itself and the connection string. So this is your SQL database, like this. And this guy will have let's just see why it's freaking out. Let's see, it's not the Cosmos one.
So we
Uh,
don't have a model for this.
we don't have a model for it. Let's create a model for it. So let's go storage here and just say SQL database in here. And let's go and say public. So I want a connection string and I want the database itself. So this iSQL database. No, this is the Cosmos one. iSQL database from, not the Cosmos, the normal one. See, you gotta be careful because they have different names. So this is database in here, like this. And you also want the connection string. So string, connection string, right here. Okay, cool. Now I can go here and add in, so Control KE will clean up that stuff. And then I can go here and say, give me the copyrights. Control minus will pull me back to where I was. And then you have this guy here. I think we have it. And then the database is your SQL database that we just created. And the connection string is basically the generate connection string with that SQL database in it. right? Now, what's the problem with that? Our contract has changed a little bit. We didn't lose our SQL database. We just said we're gonna need a little bit more information than that because the current API doesn't really support, giving us the stuff that we need. So this is the only thing that I wanted to change in this realm here. Ideally, now in an ideal scenario, you basically go and say, oh, if there's an app service that want to access your database server, you want to create a service principal in Azure and add that service principal in the security for the database server. But that's an advanced topic. I don't want to build something for the FBI when we're building a grocery store. That just doesn't make any sense. And it's really important because a lot of engineers kind of get locked into that conversation. They go and say, "Oh, we're building a website for a library." And then you have the genius that pops up and says, "Oh, we need SHA encryption and encoding and hashing and salting, and we need to put it in." I'm like, wait a second. This is just a library. We're selling magazines. Shell out. So it depends on how much investment. Why does that matter? Because when someone is paying money to actually build the software, you have to understand, you have to pick up exactly the amount of effort that fits, the purpose and fits the risk that you're working with without spending extra time on things you don't necessarily need. It's like you're asking, you're going and buying a car, right? That you're going to be driving in the streets in Japan. The streets in Japan are like this small, like this. And the guy is telling you, how about a Hummer? And you'll be like, that's not even going to go through the system. It's not going to go through the street. You're just going to be staying outside Tokyo for the rest of your life. All right. So I want this to be clear. Okay, so let me go here and just add, I'm gonna say foundations as well, and then return database. You get that through experience, right? Through life. You're experiencing different things and you get that through life. Okay, so this is the database information. What's left, guys? We want to do uh the app service, right? We want to do the app service, which is the last one. Or is there anything else? So if you do control MO, it will collapse everything for you. Sometimes and I think the opposite, there's an extra line in here. So, and then we don't need that. Okay, so this is clean. So how do we expand it? The expansion part, I think it was control MO. Bilal, can you look up the expansion of all the methods?
So control MO does the like
Collapse.
does yeah collapse and expansion as well. So like if
Oh,
you press it,
both? Really?
yeah.
No, it does not. Nope. 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 Maybe OM? Nope, it does not. Maybe Control Shift MO? Nope. Anyway, someone find out for me and tell me what to do there. But anyway, okay, let's go back to provision SQL Server. So we got the SQL Server, right? Now I want to provision what? I want to provision the web app, the actual application that we are working with. And that guy is the big guy. So let's go here and say value task. We don't really care about what it's really returning, but out of just consistency, provisioning web app, provision web app, async. And now what do we need? We need a project name. We need an environment. We need database connection string, environment, database connection string, right? And we also need a resource group, right? So that's resource group. And we also need a plan, right? App service plan, app service plan. So all of that stuff comes with and the app service is the biggest and toughest one of them all, is because this is where you collide all of these things together. That's really what we're building, an app service, right? Okay, so let's go to the implementation of this guy, control period. I'm pulling this guy down. Here's our stuff. And let's start doing that just as we are doing everything else. Let me break these guys apart. I wish if there was a shortcut that helps me like break them all at once. That would be cool, right? There must be one somewhere. I just don't know what it is. So as you're trying to kind of increase your productivity, these tiny little hacks is going to make you kind of a superior software engineer when you are building these things. Because people are just going to look at you and be like, how are you getting all that stuff done so fast? Well, I don't use the mouse. That's a good start, right? Anyway, so it's a project name. And then in here, we want to go and say, environment. and then dot to lower. There's nothing else in there because that's the main app that you're trying to build for your system, right? That's the orchestrator. This dot
So,
logging broker log. Go ahead. Go ahead. Mhm.
so I just looked. It's Control MP.
Control MB,
MP. P for pigeon.
MP. Ooh, Control MO, Control MP. Nice. So MO collapse MP. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. This is really sweet. Awesome.
Control M L.
Control ML. What does it do?
It will collapse all, and is it
Okay.
giving?
ML. No, ML seems to expand them all as well. What the
Yeah.
heck?
Yeah, it expands all.
So they have the same thing. They do the same function, both of them.
So, so the Control MP is for like the current method or the current in the current state.
For the current method. MP. Control MP. Control MO. Control MP. Oh, is it? No, it's not. They
There
again.
is
This is mhm,
there
mhm.
is one more. There is Control MX. Uh,
MX. What does it do? Expand all
Maybe current.
outlining.
Huh.
Nope.
No.
It's not. Maybe because I'm inside. Okay, hold on. MX, MO, MP. No, I love the MP. Okay, MP is gonna be my new
MPs.
jam. That's how I'm gonna roll. So Control Shift dot zoom in, Control Shift comma zoom out, and then you want to go backwards and forward. Control minus, and then Control Shift minus. It will move you forward. See? Don't touch the mouse. If you're touching the mouse, you're wasting time. I'll tell you that much. And a lot of people be like, "Oh, it's just a minute." Yeah, a minute plus a minute plus a minute. You're gonna end up with days. That's the
Yeah,
case with
true.
everything.
Mhm.
Especially with Excel. When you work on
Especially with
Excel,
X. That's right. That's right, Sean. Excel, the whole world economy is relying on Excel sheets. It's a disaster. Excel sheets from 97 too, not even like real Excel sheets or anything, or model Excel sheets. Okay, so web app. So this is my web app, and then await this dot cloud. We're almost done. Look at this. Create web app async, right? And then I can go and say I want the web app name. And then what else this guy wants? A connection string. Do we have a connection string? I think we do. Database connection string. And then we want the app service plan. App service plan. Do you guys see a potential code drop here? An opportunity here to clean up this code? Something that's really obvious. What do you think? This dot logging broker activity provisioning provisioning this web app name. What do you think? Completed. There's one that's really obvious. You can see it.
Yeah.
Look, look.
So the dash provisioning, not in log activities file. Yeah, that's fine.
Where is it? No, that's not it.
Yeah,
What else? There's something in there that's very obvious. So you see how I want you to kind of, remember when you're writing code, just because the code works, it doesn't mean that it's pretty and readable. Look how I put the resource group first and then the app service plan. And in here, it's asking for the app service plan and then the resource group.
mhm.
Your typical employee, an enterprise cog will say, "Oh man, who cares? It's a paycheck, right?" Don't do that.
Right.
Care a lot about what you're building, please, because that really matters, especially when it comes to software engineering. Consistent. When you're working with software engineers, you're basically working with people who are addicted to consistency. They will call you out. They'll be like, "Why are you building this chaos?" You know, you always know the quality of your code based on the amount of WTFs that you're gonna get, when you're building your code. WTF, of course, stands for Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, as we all know. You
well,
guys.
one more small thing.
Mm.
We have called it complete in all the other places, and it's completed over here.
Oh, thank you so much. See, that's my brother right there. One more thing. Do you guys notice? All the public ones should have the priority, but there's a private guy sitting here in the middle. So let's pick up that private guy and put him right there. And now we're good. And when you're moving methods around, make sure you account for an extra space at the top. So when you're moving it, you don't have to kind of go back and fix, just a waste of your time, right? Tiny, tiny things, but I promise you it makes a big difference. It looks it looks like we're done with the foundation service, just like that. What do you guys think about that? Does that look good? So foundations, provision, web app. The next time we're gonna combine all of these together. So we're gonna go and build a processing service, and this processing service is gonna tell us, how it's gonna read the configurations, through that nice configuration broker that we built, and how we're gonna process how to build how to build these things. I hope you found this a little bit entertaining. Coding with people is always fun. It's like when you eat with people. When you eat with people, food tastes different. It tastes so much better, right? I don't know why. It could be a psychological thing, you
And
know. Go ahead.
one more thing to that is that when you eat with people, you eat more. So that
You
is where
do.
the, yeah,
Is that right? I
yeah,
know that there's, culturally speaking, I know there's this hadith that says, if you eat with people, it gets more and more, like barakah, like blessing, right?
exactly.
I also think it's fun. Sean, do you know this? Have you heard? You probably saw, you guys probably heard of this, that golden temple in the Punjab Valley. Have you guys heard of it? The golden temple. I heard
Yes.
that people I heard that people there fight to feed the poor. They fight each other to serve food, not to eat food. There's something about that, it's always something to look at and think about when it comes to just kindness and eating food with people. I feel like we as people are very social beings and we love to be with other people, when you are lonely and your internet connection is just cutting out, you feel left out from the game, and then it gets a little just like how Yasser's connection is getting crazy right now. Look, yeah. I think Sean hacked Yasser's router and he's just taking it. Anyway, it's always fun to hang out with you guys. And sorry about that little daylight thing last time. I look forward to finishing this project with you. Once we start kind of writing like foundation services, you're gonna miss these sessions because we're gonna do one, and then you're gonna start splitting into groups. But I'll tell you something though, we're gonna have like stand-ups. We're gonna have like a team stand-up, and the team stand up is basically where we all get together and say, okay, Bilal and Sean, you guys were pairing on this particular task. Where are you at? And then Yasser and Hassan, where are you guys at? Right? And we start kind of switching, the sessions and all that. You'll get a look and feel about what it's like to kind of work in an engineering team. And, we're going to be shuffling pairs. So tomorrow, today, Sean and Bilal are pairing. Tomorrow is going to be Hassan and Sean and Yasser and Bilal, and then switch it again. It's going to be, Yasser and Sean and Hassan and Bilal and so on and so forth. This way, there is no heroes on the team. Everybody is working on the same code base. There's one big disease that I've seen in corporate, when it comes to enterprise, is that I call it SAM. SAM is the savior architecture model. There's this one guy that writes a lot of code and nobody have absolutely no idea what they're working on, right? This is really bad for your team because that basically means that your team will never get a chance to see how this code is being built. So that means the senior stays senior and the junior stays junior. That's not okay, right? You have to pair with people, especially if you're a seasoned engineer. You have to pair with people. It's not about your success anymore. You already became a senior. Like in companies like LinkedIn, they call them staff engineer. Do you know what that means? Like technically unfireable. Like you are at the point where we know that you're actually
Mm.
useful. Unless you lose your mind and go crazy and start kind of coming to work without pants, there's absolutely no reason to get rid of you. Does that make sense? Does that make
Yeah.
sense? So this is
Yeah,
this is
yes.
this is what this is all about. I can't wait to show you guys like this. What makes this project very near and dear to my heart is that first of all, it's all driven by the humbleness of Yasser. Like he's coming in saying, "Hey, I'm gonna put myself out there and write software." As comfortable as that may be for some people, he just went out there and started, working on it. But then the other thing about this project is that I want the world to see how software engineers work together, and it looks like you guys are picking up a faster pace, than other groups that I work with, and I'm really happy about that. That means we're going to be able to kind of hit the ground running. And I look forward, to building more with you. I'm gonna start another session, another pairing group, another team to build fluent regular expressions. Fluent regular expressions. So I think Yasser is gonna be a part of that. So that means Yasser, you're gonna have to stay because I'm joined by Ricky. Ricky is from Puerto Rico. It's like you're working with everybody in the world.
Yeah.
Everyone wants to build code with you. The only difference here is that people just want to have a standard where they can all agree on. And now it's just a matter of let's chat about whatever. There are some people that I work with who don't like to be in camera, right? There are people that I worked with for about 3.5 years now. You don't know their names. You never met them once, on YouTube. You never even heard me talking about them, like specifically names and stuff. And they just want to stay, away from cameras. But the surprise is that there will be a point in time. This is when I know I fulfilled my purpose on this planet, right? When someone comes to me one day and says, "Hey, Hassan, let me show you this cool thing about how you build software." And they talk to me, try to teach me about my own standard. That's how I
Hmm.
know I hit the right stream. That means it's not attached to me anymore. And it's about
Right.
the people and with the people. Does that make sense?
Right. Right.
Anyway, enough with the TED Talk. I look forward to working with you again, and thank you all so much. And of course, for the people watching us, I hope you find this session, fun and useful. This is not a gold digger prank kind of videos. This is 1 hour where people are sharing knowledge and trying to work together. So if you have any questions, comments, concerns, or compliments to any of these brothers in here, feel free to drop a comment in the comment section. And I'll see you in another session. Thank you guys. I appreciate you. Take care. Don't forget to like
Thank
and
you.
subscribe.
Thank you.
Yeah,
See ya.